So just bear with me on this one. This could get a bit complicated. I'm going to show you how to manage text in Microsoft Publisher documents. So I've got Publisher. I've just started a new Publisher document. Well, I haven't yet, but I'm going to now. So I'll go for an A4 blank portrait document. There you go. Keep things simple. And I get this here. I want to chuck a text box in. You'll notice there's nowhere to type on Publisher. It doesn't have. It's not like Word. It doesn't have. You know, you can't free type on it in the same way that you can on Word, continuous typing. So you have to actually specify where the text is going to go. So because it's not a word processor, it's designed for layout, isn't it, and designing things. So that kind of makes sense. So we'll go with a text box. So I'll draw a text box in at the top here. This is where I want some text to go in my document. Let's just view page width so I can see what I'm doing. So that's quite nice, all zoomed in. Yeah, gosh, I'd like to put a bit of text in here, but you know what? I'm not going to be able to fill this text box up very easily, am I? Well, I'm going to introduce something to you now which you'll find quite useful if you're doing this kind of design work, which is, struggle to pronounce this, lorem ipsum text. It's basically gibberish Latin text, which is based on the ramblings of some ancient Latin guy, I think. I can't remember. He wrote a book or something. And it started off with this lorem ipsum dolor sit amet, blah, blah, blah. And basically this website, lipsum.com, is designed to generate this random text. It doesn't mean anything. It's just designed to fill in text areas and text boxes in documents so that you don't, as a designer, you don't have to worry about filling things in. You can just kind of concentrate on the layout. So I've generated 5 paragraphs of lorem ipsum text. So I'm just going to 513 words to be precise. I'm going to select all that. I'm just going to right click and I'm going to copy it. Okay, and I'm going to just drop back to my Publisher document here. Right, if I want to paste the text into this box, I think what I might do actually is I might just put a border around the box just so that I can keep track of where it is. So I'm just going to go with format on the drawing tools and then shape outline, and I'm just going to click this grey here just so that I can see where the text box is, because I'm going to lose track of them if I'm not careful. I want to put quite a few text boxes in on here. So in the box, I right click. You'll notice before I actually click this button down here to keep the text only and paste that in there, I get a series of different options. I'm going to try and investigate these during this video. So I'll leave it set at the do not auto fit option there, and I'll just click the keep text only. So that removes any formatting from the website that I've got the text from. Good tip. And I'll just click that, and hopefully my text will appear in there. Now, the more observant of you might have noticed that when I was on the lorem ipsum website, I copied 5 paragraphs. Back on my Publisher document here, I've actually only got like 2.5 paragraphs in there, so the rest of the text seems to have vanished. Well, it hasn't actually vanished, because if I just scroll down with my mouse wheel on this page and I just open up that text box a bit, keeping an eye on the word elementum, X at elementum there, if I open that out a bit, you'll see there it was, and this text is actually still here. And if I keep going, you'll see it's still there. It's just that, it's not showing because the text box isn't big enough to fit it in. Another way of spotting that the text is too big to fit in the box is the appearance of this little icon on the right hand side, this little ellipsis, if you can see it. It's a continuation symbol, I suppose, isn't it? So that kind of makes sense. And what that tells me is that there's a bit more going on in that box that I can see, and it's asking me to do something with the rest of this text and pop it somewhere else. So what I'll do is I'll just zoom back out to the full page. You may not be able to see the text very easily there, but what I'm going to try and do is just pop another text box in here. So let's say that I'm designing a layout for my page, and I've got a piece of text there. I might want to put an image in the middle, and then I want to put some text that underneath to continue it. If I just do insert again, there's 2 places to insert a text box, either from the home ribbon or from the insert ribbon. There it is, insert text box. So I'll do it from here. And I'll click another box, click and create another text box down at the bottom there. Just make sure it lines up with the margins, which is nice. I'll also pop that outline on so I can see where it is as well. So there it is. So that's the text box. I can see it. I'm going to take the overflow text by clicking on this little ellipsis icon. You'll notice that the mouse pointer changes to this really cool little jug with all text kind of gushing out of it. And I'll hover over this text box that I've created down at the bottom, click in there, and then the text has now flowed from that one into this one. I'm presented with a black arrow going left. If I click on that arrow, it takes me to the previous box. If I click on that arrow, it takes me to the next box. Now, I'm going to there's still more text. There's like, nearly a full paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's nearly a full paragraph of text still not fitting in there because I've still got this little ellipsis. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that on another page because I want to show you something else that's quite cool. So I'm going to create a new page over here, and this is how you create the new page. Find an empty space, right click, new page, new blank page. You can also insert a new page from the insert menu, so insert page and then blank page from there if you can't get to this to right click. But I want to just go there and insert a blank page. I'm going to drop a new text box onto here. Hopefully this will be big enough now to complete all the text that I've got in there to accommodate, I think was the word I was looking for. So we'll just create an outline on there so I can see it as well. Go back to the first page, click in there, click the overflow button, little jog, drop to page 2, little jog still there, drop it into there, lovely, no ellipsis, a little bit of a blank space there and everything's fine. Now again, I can drop back to the previous text box by clicking on there, takes me back there, right, okay. Sometimes you see in magazines, and this is quite cool, so I'll just go view and page width again. Sometimes you see in magazines where it says continued on page and so on, and you can do that in Publisher as well. If I click in this text box, it's the last one on this page over here. Right click on the edge of it somewhere. I can probably right click in it as well, I don't think it matters. Format text box tab. And then there's two little tick boxes down here. It says one that says continued on page. So I want to tick that one and then click OK. And then look at that. How cool is that? Continued on page 2. Let's go to here. Scroll up with my mouse wheel. Right click. Where was I? Format text box. Text box. Continued from page this time. Click OK on that. How cool is that? Continued from page 1. Now that will maintain its page referencing even if you insert a page underneath this one. So if I insert a page there after the current page, blank pages, that's okay, click OK. So I've literally got a blank page between those two now. This should say, keep your fingers crossed, continued on page 3. Look at that. So it's worked out that the rest of the text box, lots of scrolling up and down, is there and is there as well. So let's go back to whole page view. So that's how I can use overflowing text to manage text flowing from one area into another. This is quite nice in like a multi-page magazine or something where you have an article that starts on one page and maybe goes over to another one. Let's have a look what some of the other options for text fitting, I guess, are. Let's go back to this blank page I created in the middle, why not, and choose insert and then text box, and I'll create another text box just there. Now let's just create a margin, a coloured boundary, and I will view and page width so I can see what I'm doing. Bit big, make it a bit smaller. Okay, now before, when I used this one, when I pasted it into there, it kept it as Calibri 10 point, I think. So this is set to Calibri 10.2, but I'm going to change the behaviour of this text box a little bit. I'm going to right click in it first and choose best fit from this little drop down menu. Whoa, the cursor's gone absolutely enormous because what it's done is it's decided that if it was going to just put text in this box, it would now be 169 points. So if I put like hello, it's enormous, that text there. What it's trying to do, it's trying to fit the text best it can in the box I've given it to put it in. This is really great if you're trying to create, say, a title on a document and you want it to occupy all of the area or the space that you're creating in. That's the good way of doing it. I'm going to take that text out of there and I'm going to right click and paste this Lorem Ipsum text, 5 paragraphs of the stuff I had before. So I'll click paste text only. What it's done is it's decided to fit all of that text in that box. It needs to reduce the font size to 6.4, and it doesn't matter now. Let's just scroll down a bit. If I make that text box bigger, what Publisher will do, it will start to increase the text size to 8.2 points now to fill it as best it can, and even if I make it even smaller, whoa, tiny text, 4.5 points. Okay, so what that's doing is it's as it suggests, it's best fitting the text into the box. So that's that one. Let's just do it that way. Let's go back to view and go back to the whole page. Not finished yet. We'll go to home and insert a text box this time, and we'll drop a text box in that's kind of like half of that page, just there. Let's create a little boundary on it again, just so that we can see where it is. And let's zoom in a little bit, but we're just going to zoom in a touch here. We'll go with view selected objects, and that should zoom into the object I've selected again. Nice little tip if I'm trying to do that. Let's right click and change the behavior of this one to shrink text on overflow. Okay, now you might think, well, this seems a bit similar to best fit, but it's not quite the same actually. The text size has stayed at 10, if you notice. It's just stayed right there. So so we're going to see what the behavior of this text box is now. So we'll right click, shrink text on overflow. We'll just click the keep text only one. That pastes it in. It shrunk it to 7 point. Fair enough. Okay, let's make that text box the full width of the page. It's gone back to 10 point now, and I'm just going to make the text box slightly taller. Now what should have happened here, it should have introduced a little bit of empty space at the bottom. The font size is stayed at 10. What's this doing? It's maintaining the maximum font size for the document, which is 10 point, but it's making sure that if I shrink that box down, it will still fit the text in. So it's subtly different. In other words, this one, the font will get bigger than 10. It's gone to 10.3 there. Whereas this one, it'll never get bigger than 10. It'll only shrink it, which is why I only had that option. Right, one more. I think there was one more different type of text behavior here. Let's go back to view and whole page again, which is there. Now this text is too small to view, if you notice now, so it's put these funny little lines in, but that's okay. We'll leave it as it is. I might create a new page actually in this one. Let's go with oh no, I've got space here. We'll use this page here to demonstrate this. Let's chuck a new text box in. You'll be pleased to know it's the last text box I'm going to use in this case. All right, and I'm going to create a text box that's like that big, format, and then create this outline. I'm going to view page width so that I can see what I'm doing. This time I'm going to change the behavior to grow text box to fit. I bet you can predict what's going to happen here. I might have to just go whole page here just so that I can see what's going to happen. If I right click now and I click paste, you'll notice the text box got bigger. It got big enough so that it fits all of the text in. The font size will stay at the default 10 point, and all it'll do is it'll grow the text box to fit the text that I've pasted into it. Okay, I can reduce the font size, the text box size, and I can use my overflow text to flow it into something else, but it's quite good if I want to be able to just create a text box that's exactly the right size to fit the text but still maintain the kind of default font size that I've used. Whoa, we've covered lots of stuff there. So we've looked at how to create text boxes, how to flow text from one box into another, create continuation hints, which is like this thing down at the bottom here, continued on page and so on. Looked at best fitting, shrinking, and auto fitting the text box to the text. So I think I've probably covered everything that you can do with text. Pretty much anyway, the basic stuff. Right, brilliant.